Some say shooting flames are stupid and annoying, but when it's this cheap, who the hell cares? Today, we're diving into 10 cheap cars with insane tuning potential from Japan to Germany, even America. Like, subscribe, and first up is the BMW 335i with the German 2J, baby. I mean, if you've ever dreamed of owning a fast and luxurious German sports sedan, the E90 and E92 BMW 335i, well, they're your golden ticket. Why? Because under the hood is an N54 twin-turbo inline-6, or what we like to call in the industry the modern 2JZ. And just like the legendary Supra motor, this thing can handle stupid amounts of power with minimal effort. Bone stock, you're looking at 300 horse and 300 foot-pounds of twist. Not too shabby, right? But with a simple MHD Stage 1 tune, boom, plus 100 horsepower instantly. Throw in bigger turbos and a bolt-on, 600 horsepower's easy. Does it sound too good to be true? Well, kind of. The high-pressure fuel pump, water pump, and wastegate actuators love to fail. BMW problems, but if you can deal with them, it's not that bad. And you really can't overstress those internals. These things are absolute beasts. And the best part, if there could be anything better, you can grab one for under 10 grand. That's supercar levels of power for used Camry money. Check out this 09 with a 6-speed that sold for a little over 10. If you want to find any of these ideal cars using Auto Tempest, I've linked to all of them in the pinned first comment. And guys, real quick, Rocky from New York already drove off with the first GTR and the bonus cash that changed his life. We literally flew him out here. He hung out with us for the whole weekend. We shipped his car back home to New York, and the dude had the time of his life. It genuinely changed everything for him. And now it's your turn. If you want a shot at winning your dream car plus bonus cash, hit the link in the pinned first comment right now. And now, back to the show. Next up, the 350Z. Okay, yeah, this car is not only one of the best bang for your buck, it's also just a fantastic driver's car. I've loved every second behind the wheel of one of them. And the Nissan 350Z is this rear-wheel drive VQ-powered legend with one of the biggest aftermarket communities in the world. Whether you're looking to build a grip monster, a turbocharged powerhouse, or a full-on drift missile, the 350Z, it just delivers. Stock, you're getting 287 to 300 horses, depending on the year. A naturally aspirated 3.5-liter VQ35 V6 that loves to scream to redline, and a lot of them came with a 6-speed manual transmission. Plus, they're one of the most deadly cars ever, so don't tell your parents, that you're driving one of the most deadly cars ever. Because here's the thing, is that with a simple intake, exhaust, and a tune, that totally wakes this thing up big time. But if you're getting real serious, like marriage material, turbo kit can easily push this thing past 450 horses and likely way up from there. However, early models had some oil consumption issues, so check your levels very regularly. Also, avoid the base model. It doesn't have a limited slip diff, and you're going to want that for performance driving, right? With secondhand prices starting at under 10K for a 350, and this thing is a certified tuner icon and a blast to drive, that is a lot of value for not a lot of cheddar. I mean, here you go. This one sold for under 10, and there are plenty of Zs with just a few more miles that would cost a few $1,000 less than that. Up next is a car that recently has gained some much needed traction because it is an incredible enthusiast car. Say hello to the Mazda Speed 3, the hot hatch that punches way above its weight. On paper, here is what you get. A 2.3-liter turbo inline 4, 263 horses and 208 foot-pounds of twist, front-wheel drive, and a manual tranny. And don't let that front-wheel drive part fool you. Yes, this thing pulls hard. 263 is much more than you'd think for a hatch like this. With just a few bolt-ons, like a cold air intake, bigger intercooler, turbo back exhaust, and a tune, you're looking at 350 plus. Not bad for a car that you can still fit a Costco haul in. The only catch, the turbo seals tend to go bad, and the high-pressure fuel pump can be a pain. But for what it costs, this thing is an absolute riot on the street. How much, you ask? Well, this 140,000 mile one owner Speed 3 sold for just $4,800. For a lower mile example, expect to pay between 8 and 10 grand, but even at this price, well, that's a wonderful car. Okay, enough with the imports. Let's talk about some good old American muscle, shall we? That has a V8. And up next is the SN95 and the new Edge Ford Mustangs. Now, the SN95 in particular has a body style that many people wrote off as ugly, but Lucky for you and me, that means that they're just a lot cheaper now. Under the hood of the regular GT, you still get that 4.6-liter modular V8, putting down 260 horses and 302 foot-pounds of twist. But if you find an SVT example of either the 95 or the new Edge, you'll be getting up to 320 horses. And because it's on this list, you know this thing can be tuned. This engine is stupid easy to mod. Cold air intake, exhaust, and tune will give you 100 extra horses, no problemo. And if you go all in with a blower and accompanied mods, you're looking at 500 horse. Downsides though, the plastic intake manifolds tend to crack, and the interior feels, well, very 90s Ford Contour. Remember that car? But regardless, this is the cheapest way to V8 muscle car fun. Here you go, a 96 Cobra with 74,000 miles just sold for $8,800, and it's not the ugly convertible either. Go get yours before, well, someone else gets it. Okay, if you want a luxury car with serious tuning potential, say hello to the Lexus IS300. And here is the kicker. It's got that legendary 2JZGE engine. Yep, it's basically an NA Supra engine. Stock, you're getting 215 horses and 218 foot-pounds of twist. Nothing crazy, but you also get rear-wheel drive, a manual transmission option, and Toyota reliability. Here's the best part. Add a turbo kit and suddenly you've got over 400 horsepower in a sleeper sedan. What more could you ask for? Well, the automatic transmission models aren't great for performance, so you gotta get a manual if you can find one. They're kinda hard to find. And good condition examples are selling for like $9K. Still, the IS300 is underrated, overbuilt, and just waiting to be turned into a monster. You know, if you're a subscriber of this channel, that the Honda K-Series engine is one of the greatest four-cylinders of all time. I will fight to the death on that hill. And the Acura RSX Type S is one of the best cars to harness its full potential. This thing comes with a high-revving 2-liter inline-4 with dual-cam VTEC. It has 200 horse, 142 foot-pounds of twist, 6-speed manual transmission, and sometimes even a really cool wing. Now, stock power isn't mind-blowing, but that's not why you're gonna buy an RSX Type S, is it? This car loves to be on back roads, and plus, it takes power really well. Bolt on that intake header and a full exhaust, you're squeezing out another 30 to 40 horsepower easily, and it will sound incredible. And if you want to go nuts, K-Series swaps, turbo kits, or ITVs will turn this into an absolute screamer. This one sold for just over $9,000, but be careful because prices have started to turn upwards since this one sold. So actually, you're going to want to act pretty quick if you want one of these things. Now, do you like the Nissan 350Z, but you find it lacks a certain refinement? That's where the Infiniti G35, well, it fits that void. It's got the same 3.5-liter VQ35 V6 as the 350, meaning it shares that 287 to 300 plus horsepower depending on the year, but it also has the rear-wheel drive, a balanced chassis, and the biggest aftermarket with endless mods. Just, you know, your credit card has to keep up. Basically, if you want a more classy, slightly heavier 350 with a back seat, the G35 is the way to go. Plus, that back seat keeps insurance prices down. Now, forced induction setups for the VQ35 can push this thing past 450 horses with ease. Just, you know, keep in mind, oil consumption is a known issue on some models, so check those oil levels religiously. This Black Butte sold for just $8,600, and higher mile examples will go for even less. So this is pretty much how I met Trav, the Audi B5 S4. He had one for sale, and being an Audi mechanic, he knew what he was getting himself out of, and me not knowing anything about Audis, I tried to buy it from him, and I had no clue what I was getting myself into. But regardless, the B5 S4 is still one of my favorite Audis of all time, even more favorited than my Audi R8 that I had for a couple years. And these things will easily make 500 horses. Why? Because twin turbos. That's why. Plus you get the quattro all-wheel drive and endless power potential. Stock, yeah, it comes in at 250 and 258 foot-pounds of twist. And with just an ECU tune and exhaust, you're instantly unlocking over 300 horses. The real fun starts when you swap out the weak KO3 turbos for KO4s, and that's when you start looking at 400 plus horsepower and insane acceleration. However, maintenance, take it from Trav, is a nightmare. The stock turbos will fail, and when they do, they are really tough to get to. Also, the timing chain. Yeah, just ask anybody that owns one about a timing chain, and you'll know why you shouldn't buy one, but you should buy one, because if you're willing to wrench and deal with those German car quirks, this thing is a cheap beast. This pretty silver guy sold for only $8,500. Okay, the Volkswagen GTI is probably the best all-around car in existence, right? It's fun, it's pretty reliable, and extremely practical for everyday use. Under the hood, you get a 2-liter turbo inline-4, and it's lightweight, nimble chassis. It's a lot of fun to drive, and it's just kind of spicy. But if you want to make it more spicy, put Sriracha on top, you got the ECU tuning that will push this thing past 250. Now, slap on KO4 turbos, and suddenly you're sitting at 350 plus a practical hatchback. The only thing to watch out for, carbon buildup, which is kind of a Volkswagen thing, on the intake valves. This engine is direct injected, so regular cleaning, it's a must. We do walnut blasting, and it's a lot of fun. Not really, actually. I didn't like doing it at all on my Audi. But this one we found is even better than the specs we mentioned earlier because it has the legendary VR6 and a 6-speed, and it sold for only $6,600. Now, the Miata always gets recommended because it's always the answer, and it's always the answer because it's cheap, it's fun, it's reliable, and insanely easy to mod. Yeah, you're not getting a lot of horsepower, 116 on tap, but it only weighs 2,300 pounds. It's a featherweight. And get the secret recipe of rear-wheel drive, manual transmission. Now, if you're chasing big numbers, you're going to have to do forced induction, and a basic turbo kit can push this to nearly 200 horses, which, in this light of a car, is hilariously fast. But downsides really include rust, and more rust. Miatas love to rot away, so always check the frame and undercarriage before buying. And here you go. A mint NV Miata sold for $8,200 at auction, but you can find 100 to 150K examples that cost half that and will still run strong with good maintenance. So, which tuner car are you looking at? For me, it would probably be the E90 335i with the N54 because that German 2J, it can handle a ton of fun and power. But let me know which one you like the most down in the comments below. Also, remember the Ideal Car Strategies, where you can learn how to buy these cars and make money on them for free. I've linked to them in the first comment, as well as Auto Tempest, where you see the cheap ones that you can buy. So go check it all out in the comments below. If you enjoyed this vid, like, subscribe, and check out these Ideal vids over here. I'm Brad. This is Ideal. We'll see you next weekend. Promise me one thing. Keep living the Ideal lifestyle.